So we began Ois Gimel, yes, page Reish Mem Gimel. And he said that even though he had stated earlier that Olam Atik and Olam Atzilus seem what appear to be, this is the Kavanah, Oides and Kelim, Ichad Vayin Elikim, but not so. So we'll just go back a line or two. Ulamayli Yosef. The line begins by the words Yechelim Lakabel. It's halfway down Ois Gimel. Page Reish Mem Gimel. Moishe of the Maimer, there should be copies on the table or up there. Huh? Lamayli Yosef. There's fixing, as it were, required even in the Kelim of Atzilus. Explained that the Ikar Avoda in the Yichud of Oir and Keli is the Keli, because the Oir, the Oir is Gilui, so the Oir is in the Oir is carried the Kavanah. It's like a Kavanah Pneumius. It's not its nature. The nature of Oir is to disengage limitation and to spread endlessly, to diffuse Gilui. But that's the Kavanah. So the Neshama comes down. Neshama is Oir relative to the Guf. Within the Neshama itself, there's Oiris and Kelim, but relative to the Guf in the bigger picture, it's Oir. So Bakorcha Chatachai, but Bakorcha Chatachai, the Neshama comes down. It's not taken in chains. This is the Kavanah, so it submits. But the Keli is resists. So the Kavod is in the Guf and Kelim, Kabbalah Soil, and so on. So both Oir and Keli, as explained, the Avodah is that they should behave contrary, as it were, to their overt nature, and be expressive of the Kavanah Pneumius that's invested in them. So the Avodah is the Kelim. So he's now saying that the Avodah is not only in Biyah, that's obvious. The Avodah is also in fixing Biyah, now it's fixing creation, but also even like the Kelim of Atzilus. Sharei, why? Gamma Kelim, Atzilus, even the Kelim of Atzilus, even though we described earlier, that there is the integration of Avayin Elikim, of Gvul and Bli Gvul, it's still not the Kavanah, because the Keli remains a Metzius, as he's going to explain, and very, very medidike. What this means, because it's a big chiddush. We have to fix Atzilus. What's wrong with Atzilus? So he continues, problem with Atzilus is that it's nice. That's the problem with Atzilus. And it's missing the Gewalt, the Eir HaSovev. Similar to the previous Maimer, the Sharanun. Shalamaylim Yina Kelim, totally beyond Kelim. In other words, Atzilus is missing the Gilui that's totally beyond its whole identity. Vahainu explains. So what happens is through fixing the kelim of biyah, it's what they need. What biyah needs to know is there's a world of kedusha that's not your world. So nasam shochaser atzilus. That's tikkun for biyah. So inyan. That Atzilus is Sovev, is totally infinite and beyond, relative to Biyah. So Biyah it's gone beyond self. That's good for Biyah, but Atzilus itself, this perfect world, the Amish is not looking for perfection. not perfection, but emes. And emes is beyond perfection. So therefore, the h'tשכ of the Gewalt, there's no Gewalt in Atzilus, and that's the Avodah. Notwithstanding the integration, it's not, again, as we said earlier, and he says now, it's the Avodah is there should be bis yashros. So as we were saying, is the chassid this refined gentleman, or is he mad? And she's both. He's a refined gentleman in the truest sense, but there's a madness. There's a madness, meaning to say there's an insatiable fire to the kavanah elyoina. As he describes it here, that he goes on to say, so it all began with discussing Shabbos, that the Avodah is in the Kalims, and there's 3 levels to that, and he identified Friday night, Shabbos day, and Mincha. So hence, now talking about Atzilus, he spells it out. So fixing Biyah, which as I said before, the Bira Nitzutis, to elevate, to redeem the sparks. Biyah at its lowest level, which is our world, this needs to know that this Kedusha is a higher world. And everything you thought that's valuable is nonsense. And that there is something higher. So that's Friday night. That's the Bira Nitzutis. That's similar to Friday night. Then what are we doing? We're extracting the food from the waste. The Biyah has to know that in and of itself, if it's not a meaningful life, it's a wasted life. The fish of Biyah shaykh in Mitzvah because in Biyah they shaykh the holy and push it outright the evil, no kedusha, no holiness at all. That's got to be addressed. So the tikkun, the avodah in Biyah is to know and to live and to express kedusha. So that is to extract and reveal and make dominant the food, not the waste. That's extracting the food from the pseilas. That Biyah should be open to a world of kedusha, a rarefied world. That's Atzilus. So that's the Avodah Friday night. Then the Avodah continues. But fixing, as it were, Atzilus, a Shabbos day, not dealing with war against or the opposition of Klipper. We're in a world of holiness. So what's the Avodah now? Let's similarly just describe the Gan Eden Elyon, Gan Eden Tachton, Gan Eden Elyon. This within food itself, it's an elevation to describe the process in the physical body, as we learned earlier. Atzilus, we're not talking about pseilas. There's nothing that's wrong or bad. No evil touches you. It's a pasuk in Tilim. It says in Kabbalah that goes on the Atzilus. So there the avodah is not a refinement from that which is to be rejected. So what is the avodah? The avodah is in kedusha itself. So what Atzilus needs to know, that kedusha needs to the tzaddik. This is like the tshuva of the tzaddik. The tzaddik that needs to know and needs to connect to the gewalt, to the avodah that's beyond the measured and predictable and beautiful avodah, seichel and midas, in an integrated, beautiful way. That's Atzilus. So what's the avodah? Erasevev, beyond. So what's beyond that? That's Shabbos day. It continues v'yesh aliyah na'alis yosef, and then there's even a high avodah. This is all the tikkun of the kelim at its highest level. Kelim of Atzilus, beautiful kelim, but open to the bligvul. And what is the avodah from there? Showing it the second last time on the page, if you have the same format, Reish Mem Gimel. Yesha inye tikkun ha'oides. The oides, the revelation, has to be fixed, as it were. How is this? The hine, because hine, behold, this is big news. Behold, let's stand back for a moment with the mouths open. The oid aseviv, still not the kavan elyon. No. Gam oid aseviv variyesh leiz shaychas the kelim. Even oid aseviv is still bound to limitation in some way, not in a direct way, but an indirect way. The fact that it's called transcendent already is implicit in transcendence is a relationship with that which is not. You're also mitzias. Shvaklolis, bilvad, because oir is oir. It's not etzem, it's not atmos. It's still revelation. Eibishter wants that he himself, atmos, be connected to, one with. So therefore, the avodah is even in Eraseviv itself is not tachlis avodah, because it's oir, the shem oir atzma. Next page, the fact that we're calling it oir, revelation. What do you mean otherness? Mechiach, that itself proves literally, perforce. Shahara bilvad, it's not the essence. We're talking light. We're still talking away from the essence. We're still talking at some degree of otherness, no matter how rarefied and how bottled. And the kavan is the Eibishter himself. He wants himself to be known, connected by us. So therefore, when you're not tikkun oides, so what does the oir require? The oir requires, the tikkun is that it should experience its total oneness in the luminary. And that's not enough either. Well, because even a luminary produces light. And Atzmos is beyond even revelation altogether. And that's the kavan, and that's Shabbos Mincha. And he spells it out in Avodah. What does this mean? We'll soon see the next ois. Gewalt, what does he want from us? We'll see. So these three levels, as they're tracing them now, as we speak of the Amshacha of the Sviris, namely, Hine Amshacha Aleph, the first Gilu, the first drawing down, the first revelation of Misheresh and Ivroim, we're going to the source of creation. That's what we're touching. Ad the B'chinas Arich, even the level of Arich, we're talking Kesed, beyond that, Sheresh and Ivroim. That's accessed, this level of Elikus, that's part of creation, very lofty level. The source of creation was the Rotzen. So this is connected to and revealed through carrying out the avodah of refining the world. That's the will. That's the mission statement. Arich is the Eibishter's Rotzen. You come down here to elevate the world. Level one. That's in terms of the mandate. Then comes Amshachas HaBeis. Then comes as a result of elevating the world. Then we reveal that what the more pnimizdika intent. The avodah is elevate the world. And then what? B'chinas Gimlodation the Atik. Gimlodation means Chacham Bina Das, the first pnimius, the highest level, literally the first, the three firsts of Atik, Levoshim Bina the Atik, which invested in Bina. And that, he said, is analogous to relative to creation. So then is revealed as a result of that which is beyond Keli. It's still not the Kavanah, notwithstanding the incredible Gilui and connection and achievement. It still has a shaykhs to Kelim. In other words, the ultimate Kavanah of the Dira, after it's all done, is what? Is that the soulmates live there and be one. Is the yichud. And all of this is incredible and satisfying. Beautiful home is built. So much so that the home expresses the union of Seviv Kalam in that means in the analogy of a home is that it's not only the home is everything is there, it's required to be look at every detail, but the home, that's the first avodah. It's clean, it's all that's required there, it's picture perfect. But there Seviv means that the home has the aura of the people that live there. Not enough. Not enough that their presence is impressioned on the home. The point of the home is that is where the Etzem and Etzem become one. Them is Sedir. So in the words of the Maimek Yedum, the Bebinu Hascholas HaKelim. So even though it's Taki revelation of what he said, the Gimel Reishim, but still, of which Bina is the central one, it's still the beginning of Kelim. Chen Gam Bina the Atek Yesh Leisa Shaychas in HaKelim, and even Bina in Atek. It's still Kelim, it's still not being. It's still some element of performance, of function. And the kavanah is, yes, there has to be performance and function, but the ultimate is being, not doing. Amshachas Gimel, and that is the third level. Amshachas Pnimis, he says, bin of Atik, but the Pnimis of Atik, the Etzem Mamish, Shin Amshachas Etzem. That's the kavanah. So the essence of the home is the Kodesh HaKadoshim is the bedroom. That's how it's described in Tanakh, Cheder HaMitas. And that isn't about performance, it's about being. It's sharing the essential self. So these three inyanim, so now he explains it now in Avodah and Oisius, Meridic Oisius. So the way they are in the Tikkun, so these three in Yonim as it applies in our Avodah and fixing our Guf ourselves. And Nevesh Abaham, which is barely, we said earlier. So again, Tikkun HaKelim V'Aliyah Shenasa B'Shem Elikim. This is the Tikkun of the Kelim and the Aliyah that we have to affect in Shem Elikim. So the Avodah, the Yichud Avodah Elikim. So this is expressed in Inyan Gimel or Avos, the three levels of love that are identified in Kriyashma. Namely, B'chol Levavcha with all your heart, and it's B'chol Nafshecha with all your soul, B'chol Ma'itcha. So what are these three loves? With all your heart, that means a conscious avoid that fills your heart. Keches pnimia means the conscious faculties of the person. Esed keches, it means the 10 faculties. I think he's addressing here the two hearts. The vavcha, it's not just the heart b'chalal, the 10 keches hanefesh, but as each kech is integrated with the other, the full gamut. As each one incorporates the other. So it's a meidik avodah, but the avodah is bakbala. This is seichel amidas. This is conscious fulfillment. This a person can achieve through his own avodah, through his own seichel and meditation. That's the conscious avodah. The self, the conscious self. On the avodah b'chol nafshecha. But then there's the higher avodah with b'chol nafshecha, which is what avarabba. This is a great love, rusa de liba, the desire of the heart shalamayim mekichas pnimim. That's beyond intellectual and emotional satisfaction. And he adds it very important. She This the person can't achieve on his own. Because he's always tethered to self, mind and heart, to the ego, no matter how beautiful it is. It's a gift from above. Doesn't elaborate, but this is the Nesinas Keich above. So what's beyond that? So here's already a Mesiras Nefesh and Avodah B'chol Nafshecha. His literal translation, to take your life. He gives up his life for his Yiddishkeit, for his fellow Jews, starting with his home. Mesiras Nefesh. And it's empowered from above. Not the Tachlis yet. But here, as you said before, Arich, this is what he wants, this is what's driving him, it's still the self. With these words, this feeling, this is what I want in life, to which he's not just ready to sacrifice, but does, is to mevatel this hergish. This feeling has to be done away with. So what's the avodah? Avodah b'chol ma'itcha. What's b'chol ma'itcha? Shenichlal ba'etzem, that he's incorporated literally one in the etzem b'lishum hergish klal. If he is aware of, and this is what I want, he's missing. There's no hergeshim. There's the kavanah, and that's all. Not even I'm devoted to the kavanah. As he goes on to say, it's a paradox, and that is, he's calling this the love of delight, which externally is the most fulfilling level. He's saying it's not. It's so essential that you're not aware that you're even experiencing it. There's no part of the person that is considering the experience. There's no That's the true Ava B'tan Logim. So much there that there's not even, again, a consideration of it. There's no part of him that's outside of where he is. Which is this is the true tainug. It's the ultimate paradox. The true tainug is, if you're aware of the tainug, it's not tainug. If there's a degree of, I arrived, I got what I want, then you're not there. So he elaborates now. Sometimes, because the Rebbe have a shaila, and that is, sometimes explained in the level we described low earlier, this great love and the desire of the heart, that's called Ava B'tan Logim. We're saying now, as we go into greater degree of discernment, it's not. But that is the highest level of the experience, conscious, aware of tainug. The tainug hamurkev. Murkev means it's a composite. What's the composite? There's me and the tainug, and I'm enjoying it. So that's that level. That's takei sheshna ba'avarav. That's the level of the great love. It's not the ultimate. It's not the amitis. It's because the tainug hamurkev. You spoke about this in your chasana maimer. Because that's the true union of chasana, true union of unity. But the true love of delight is that is not even the conscious awareness of the tainug that spoils it, that corrupts it. There's no hergish, meaning to say no considered experience at all. He's one with that. Maybe the kedarge requires further hasbara. Let's continue. I didn't learn further, so we'll learn it together. Yeah, but understand this in greater detail. The Zohar said before that the knowledge of Havaya Olikim is the primary commandment that precedes all of them, that must be known b'chlal or b'frat. It's a Lashon HaZohar. So he's going to b'prat Yisyoser, integrated that within the self, within Seichel. This truth. So understand that so understand this in greater detail by understanding this Yichud Havai Elikim as it began by Tzias Mitzrayim. That's where it began. That's what the pasuk said. The Eibishter tells Moishe and tell the Yidden that you should tell them. They will know when I take them out of Mitzrayim that you'll know Hashem Molikim. That's how it began. Whereas in Mitzrayim they can't know that. Hashem, that's what they're going to know. In Mitzrayim, in the Agbola of Egypt, they're not shaykh to know this truth. As understood from what it says in the Zohar Parshas Vayetze. It's interesting again that what sometimes he brings, where in the Zohar, and sometimes it says in Zohar. Could be because Vayetze means going out of Hakbola, but still is Vayetze. But it's pre Yitzias Mitzrayim. So therefore this can't be known, notwithstanding the growth. At any rate. What does it say? The Kadnovka is from Mitzrayim, when the Yidden went out of Egypt, they didn't know anything until the Eibishter made them taste the bread. That's the bread of the man. So by eating the manna, then was drawn into them the das, the ability to connect and to know God. What does this mean?
Is it speaking about the man or speaking about the matzah?
I think it's the man. I'm assuming. Yeah, l'chayra. B'chalach said this that the union of eating the man, that the Torah is not given only to the eichle man. L'chayra, maybe I could be wrong. We'll see. The union is the yedua shegolus nimshal the shina. Golus is likened to sleep. What sleep? So the elevated and the inner faculties, bistalkus, have not removed, they're not integrated in the mind. Hence the dreams. And it's not logical. So what is happening in the body? What's operating? The lower faculty are dominant. Digestive system, etc. My clear equal like the faculties of digestion. A person is digesting the food, etc. When sleeping, more so when he's awake. That's when it gets nourished by the nutrients, etc. This is similar to what is known. Where is it known? The al-shech. Person eats coarse food. I think it's not just the food is coarse, I'm talking meat, etc. But he eats in a coarse way. Adim means vapor. Ascends to the faculties of the mind. Person eats in a grub way. It mevalvel means it confuses or doesn't allow intellectual grasp. Pashat gashmis. So he's saying, go further. He's illustrating. He just said that the kliikol, the faculties of digestion, work more during sleep than when he's awake. He's saying that that's when they can really get the job done, because the intellect is a much higher world, and the lower faculties are a lower world, and when they're active, they are a distraction from the higher koiches. So therefore, when a person is sleeping and the higher koiches depart, that's when the lower koiches can fully work undisturbed. That's what he's bringing out here, that achilas gasa, that if the stomach has to work very hard, in other words, to refine the food, it's available to the seichel. The explanation is, why is it involved with the seichel? Because if the nefesh is invested there, That's where it's invested. So it's a distraction from being invested in the higher faculties. Now, where's he expressed? So it's busy with physical stuff and working hard there because achil is gasa. So that's where the koiches go, and it's a distraction from the mind. So during sleep, that's where these faculties work more so than during the wakeful hours, where the rotzen is invested, the person, the nefesh, is invested more in his mind. That's what he's saying. So so the other way, so just finish saying that the coarse food is mevalvel, is a distraction from the mind's koiches. So like was the opposite, mitzad tzilik al koiches nailim. So the other thing we say. So then when the elevated koiches have departed, as in sleep, so therefore the lower koiches can dominate. Nasi is garbus koiches atachtoinim. So that's when the lower faculties of nefesh dominate. The more sensual koiches of the nefesh dominate during sleep. Because he's not in the world of his mind then. The Batalia, one is dependent on the other. Meaning that if the seichel dominates, then the lower faculties are subordinate. If the lower faculties dominate, then the higher faculties are subordinate. It can't be both. It can't be the intellectual academic and the pleasure seeker. So that's sleep. Why is he bringing this? By Yetzias Mitzrayim, which was Golos, is not shaykh, the idea of Havaya Elokim. So he's explaining Golos, and he's explaining that Golos is analogous to sleep. Continuing that. Well, there is, only 5-2, we'll stop here. Just read the next line. Well, there is a Gamazmana Golos, likewise Golos Shekol, Oiris Hanailim, and Bestiluk Vehelem, the higher faculties are concealed, removed, quote unquote. It is a nasa is gabrus hakshama, a consequence of which is the predominance of materialism and akshama. That's the matzav of Golus. I see furthermore another moshel of pregnancy of the state of the ibur of the womb, as opposed in contrast to birth. Gershon is guy interesting. Okay, Be'ez Hashem, we will continue tomorrow.